Hello, everybody. We're at the top of the hour and ready to begin. My name is Karen Berger, and I'd like to welcome you to CASAS National News and Updates webinar. Today is August 23rd, and we have a great lineup for you today. So before we get started, I'd like to just go over a few features of the webinar. You'll see that your phones and or computers are muted. If you have questions about the presentations, please use the Q&A. That's where we have a team of panelists who are ready to answer all your questions. And we ask that you use the chat only if you're experiencing technical difficulties. And as I can see, everybody's introducing themselves. We'll also use the chat to post different links for you as we go through the webinar. The PowerPoint is already posted on the website, and we'll put a link in the chat so you can access that as well. A recording will be posted at that same place by August 30th. And now I'll turn it over to Laura.
Thank you for joining us, everyone. My name is Laura Fetter, and I am the Program Development Manager for CASAS. As summer winds down and we pivot to a new school year, let's take one last look at how we kicked off our summer at the CASAS Summer Institute.
This year's CASAS National Summer Institute, we've had over 1,400 attendees with 190 sessions.
I love coming here and just connecting with folks and seeing how I can make my program run a lot better.
My favorite presenters were Martha and Fabiola. Gave us so much information and solved so many problems.
All the sessions that I went to were really helpful, especially the ones that were about the new STEPS test.
Talking about math goals 2 rolling out and explaining that process and encouraging feedback.
The employment and earnings survey session that has a lot to do with my work and what I can implement to serve our students.
I also enjoyed the session that we did on the GED bootcamp. I thought that there were great takeaways.
And what was really nice too is interactive. So I got to meet people from all over the country. We sat there and we talked about it and we just brainstormed on what that data meant and how we can use it for our program.
It's a fantastic way that we get to come learn about what's going on in the field. We get to contribute to that, and we really get to take away a lot of education about what's going on not only in California but the whole rest of the United States.
The sense of community that the CASAS team has created, and all the love and support that all our agencies throughout the U.S. gets from the CASAS team.
So it's a lot going on. This is where you want to spend your summer.
Set your calendars for next year, June 17th through the 20th, 2024.
Thank you so much to everyone who joined us last June for the CASAS Summer Institute. You can see it was a wonderful time. If you weren't able to join us, hopefully you'll be able to join us next summer. I also want to take a minute to thank and congratulate Irma Mata from Kings Canyon Adult School. Irma completed our Summer Institute survey and was entered into a drawing and won free registration for the 2024 Summer Institute. So congratulations, Irma. You may have noticed that we have an updated, CASAS has a new look. We have updated our CASAS branding with an eye towards simplifying and refreshing our brand. In the coming year, we will also be refreshing and simplifying our CASAS website and our training modules. We know you are busy, and we want to make sure the information you need is easily accessible and engaging. And with that in mind, let's take a look at today's agenda. We're going to kick it off with a great promising practice presentation on HyFlex instruction at Merced Adult School. We're going to provide you with some test development updates, some tips on transitioning to the new series, and some eTest security updates regarding Take a Test. And as always, we'll give you some information about our upcoming events. So our poll is about student persistence. As you begin the school year, what do you anticipate will be your learners' greatest barrier to beginning classes and continuing to attend? Is it going to be childcare, transportation, work-related, family concerns, or other? So please, you're going to just choose one that you believe is going to be the greatest barrier to having your students attend class this fall. So it looks like everybody's starting to provide us with some feedback. Right now, looks like work-related is looking like the biggest obstacle. So this is going to give us some great information because we're going to be providing you with some tips to help overcome those barriers in our promising practice. So I think that poll is winding down, Karen.
Okay, I'll end the poll and I will share the results so everyone can see what our percentages were. So it looks like work is the biggest barrier for sure, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks like work is going to be the biggest barrier.
At 48%. All right, so we'll move on now.
And now I believe.
Don't forget to close your little poll window so you can see this next slides.
Great. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Kay Hartley, who is going to introduce us to the promising practice.
Good morning. My name is Kay Hartley, and I'm a program specialist for CASAS in Northern California. For 2 years, CASAS has done a small action research project on HyFlex instruction. The first year, we had 4 agencies participated in the study. The agencies that participated were Merced Adult School, Acalanes Adult School, Vallejo Adult School, and Garden Grove Adult School. These agencies work together to answer the research question, does the HyFlex instructional model result in measurable continuity of participation and improvements in student learning gains? In our first year of the study, there were 4 agencies participating. 1 agency gathered data on 5 ESL classes at varying levels. 1 agency gathered data on adult basic education and adult secondary education classes. 1 agency gathered data on 3 adult secondary test preparation classes. And the 4th agency gathered data on 1 HyFlex ESL class, contrasting with 1 face-to-face ESL class at the same level. In the second year, 3 agencies participated. In 1 agency, there was an ESL and high school equivalency preparation class. In 1 agency, there were 2 intermediate ESL classes and an ESL citizenship class. And in the 3rd agency, there were 2 high school equivalency exam preparation classes. This is data from the first year of the project. You will notice that in each of the HyFlex classes, learner achievement was exemplary. All of the HyFlex classes exceeded the California National Reporting System goals. The second year, we found similar performance. In this case, the agencies that had HyFlex instruction demonstrated higher learning achievement than they had in the prior year. This particular data chart shows the numbers of students and learning gains that they achieved. At Merced Adult School, in 1 ESL class, there were 39 students participating. 87% of those students had measurable learning gains. The second ESL class had 26 students receiving HyFlex instruction. 92% of the students showed measurable learning gains. In the high school equivalency class, 68% of the students who took the HySet test passed successfully. At Acalanes Adult School, 71% of their students had learning gains in the ESL citizenship class, and 67% had learning gains in the high school equivalency test preparation class. At Vallejo Adult School, 78% of the high school equivalency preparation students showed learning gains. The students who attended only in-person classes passed 7 sections of the HySet exam. Students who participated in the HyFlex instruction passed 49 sections of the HySet exam. We have participating with us in this webinar today, Merced Adult School. Jessica Tello and Mary Lou Vega from Merced have prepared a video which we will view, followed by a video from Steve Hobbs, the principal of Merced Adult School.
I try to use the most technology that I have at my disposal. There is a camera and a microphone in the classroom. The camera is pointed at the students, and then it follows me as I'm walking around the classroom. And then there's also a microphone where students in Zoom can hear from 3 to 5 feet away. And so I'm able to walk around within that range and still talk and explain and not have to carry a microphone.
Take a test. Take a test.
Using Burlington, I am able to create opportunities for students to practice as they're learning. So especially with the HyFlex online students and present, I have them interact separately. Online students interact with other online students. In-person interact with other in-person students. And there are some occasions where I have students from Zoom and in-person create a dialogue and practice within the lesson.
And guys, let me know if I'm going too fast. I can always slow down. Okay, I think I have an answer here on the chat. The students in class respond very positively to online students. They tend to be very patient and helpful.
Also, they know that being able to not come to class and being able to take class in Zoom, they appreciate that resource for them. So they know that those students in Zoom, if they could, they would be in classroom. So I feel like they are very welcoming to those using HyFlex in the class.
That's another one, good. So I'm gonna write here the first one you gave me. Acceleration equals final velocity minus initial velocity over time. And the second one you gave me was speed from.
A few benefits that my students have mentioned to me by having the class HyFlex is being able to take class on their sick days, whenever things come up in life. If they have appointments or anything going on at work, they can also take the class and do what they need to do.
First thing they have told me is that they do not have a babysitter, so it's a good thing staying home with them, especially during the summertime. As well, they don't have a car, or they get to save gas. And some people come from another town, so they'd rather not commute all the way to Merced and stay there.
As adults, life happens, and for us to be able to have this resource for them to take that stress off of them and being able to continue their schooling, even though life happens every day.
Nancy, are you there?
Yeah, thank you.
Can you read your answer, please?
Okay. I prefer left side because
So a few things that our administration has been excellent on is having teachers come together, share resources, create opportunities for us to learn more about our topic and how to use technology to better our student understanding and learning.
I have a great administrative support, starting with the technology. Our principal has provided the teachers with everything they need, workshops, any information that we need. Our principal, Mr. House, is always providing everything we need. So I can't complain. I'm so happy and I'm very thankful.
I'm Steve Hobbs. I'm the principal at Merced Adult School. We decided to implement HyFlex instruction really, as everybody else was during the pandemic. Our students wanted to learn from home, and as we came out of the pandemic, our students still wanted to stay home, so we continued to teach via Zoom, and we gradually had students coming on campus because we gave them that option. And so eventually we had more students on campus than at home, and so we just continued to teach HyFlex. Planning for technology has really been a trial by fire. I would say probably the biggest thing that we had to adjust to was the speaker / intercom system, so that our at-home learners could hear everything that was happening in the classroom. We have a camera in each class that actually follows whoever is speaking. And at first we just had these little lapel mics that we had to run and hand to whoever was speaking, but now with the conference speakers in each class, it's really upgraded what we do. Well, providing support for teachers has been probably the biggest thing, between them knowing that they can come ask me what they need, as well as me being in classrooms and seeing some of the great things teachers are doing. I was able to kind of take best practices and have those teachers do professional development for the rest of the staff. And we have as with anything, we have different teachers at different levels of being comfortable with technology. But all in all, we're all doing HyFlex, and just offering that time for teachers to feel comfortable making mistakes, doing things, and getting them trained on what they feel they need. Probably the biggest challenge we've had once we got all the teachers trained and comfortable was then getting the students trained and comfortable. And really what we found is we've had to front load a lot of information during our orientation process that would show students how to get logged onto their email, logged into Zoom if they were doing the HyFlex from home. But that was probably been the biggest challenge, was that lag time between orientation and actually getting them comfortable to log in to Zoom. So some of the rewards and benefits of HyFlex, it's taken away a lot of barriers to education. Our students that have childcare issues or transportation issues, or even have been sick, they just stay home and they participate fully in class from home. We have had the ability to not offer daycare anymore because our students with children don't attend in person, but they attend from home, and they're continuing to get a good education. Our test results have been great, whether they're online learning or in person. We haven't noticed a difference.
It is important to note that the HyFlex instruction for the teacher will require changes in the way instruction is planned and presented. For the agency, it requires some investments in equipment, training, and administrative support. Teachers need a supportive administration to help with the initial startup of HyFlex instruction, time to prepare, and ongoing technical and planning support. On the other hand, HyFlex instruction provides strong support for adult learners and may also reduce the ongoing difficulty in finding enough teachers to staff our schools. Can we move to the next slide, please? While fewer teachers can handle more students with HyFlex instruction, it will take those teachers more time, and provisions to pay for that time should be considered in budgets. Since it may not be possible to find and hire additional teachers, the money saved on staff should be available to compensate teachers for the time required to get HyFlex off the ground and to continue servicing more students through HyFlex instruction. Data suggests the rewards for the students we serve may be significant. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kay and Steve. It's just great. It looked like there were a couple questions in the Q&A. Seems like some people don't understand the difference between HyFlex and hybrid, and also they were someone else was wondering about the cost. So could one of you speak to that, or either of those?
So the cost, we actually just started with the cameras on that, the webcams, and that's what we started with. And then we switched to AVER cameras. In terms of cost for those, the AVER cameras at the time, I want to say, were around $200, and they came with lapel mics. And then we ended up finding more of an intercom type microphone / intercom speaker on Amazon, which is wasn't very expensive. I want to say it was like maybe $40, and it actually worked much better than the lapel mics.
So also they're asking, maybe we could get a list of the equipment teachers have in their classrooms for HyFlex. That camera you spoke about was the one that follows them around, correct?
Yeah, and there's so many different types. We just had they're AVERs, AVER. But there's owls out there. There's, well, I'm assuming there's a number of different types. And when we just did a search on Amazon for a conference speaker, I could get that out. I don't know exactly what the name of them is.
Karen, if people would like to email me that question, I can send resources. The OTAN project in California has done extensive look at different options, and so I'd be happy to share that with people.
Thank you, Kay. And there was another one. Someone asked, does this mean that instruction on site and Zoom are happening at the same time?
Yes, it does.
So that's the big difference between HyFlex and hybrid, where some students come to class some of the time and study at home. The HyFlex allows those both to happen at the same time. So these are just what a great way to overcome some of those barriers. I want to thank you, Steve and Kay, again so much for being with us. And both Steve and Kay will be in answering questions in the Q&A as we continue with the webinar. So we just want to thank you again, and take it away, Laura.
Yes, first of all, I just want to say thanks to Kay and Hartley. That was really wonderful and inspiring. We're going to get an assessment update from our Assessment Development Program Manager, Daniel Esco.
Hello, everyone. So I'm going to start today. If you go to the next slide, please. Just with an overview of our NRS approved assessments, just for those of you who may not know already or who just need a little refresher. So on the ESL side, our reading steps and listening steps series are now approved. They are ready for use. They are released already in CASAS eTests. So you could begin using them at any time. They are approved for the next 7 years through 2030. In the meantime, if you're not ready to transition yet, or you have other reasons not to start using the new series right away, our Life and Work Reading 80 series, forms 27, 28, 513, and 514 are still approved through June 30th of next year. And our Life and Work Listening 980 series is approved through June 30th of next year as well. On the ABE side, we have our new Math Goals 2 series. That is also ready for use. It is NRS approved now through 2030, just like those other 2 step series. And in the meantime, again, if you are not ready to transition yet, our current Math Goals series is still approved through June 30th of next year as well. So for either or for any of these series, you'll have some time to transition if you need to. But just, well, okay. And then on the reading side, for our Reading Goals series, that is still approved as well for ABE through March 2024. And we are currently working on our Reading Goals 2 series. And we're going to be starting to field test this fall and winter. I'll give a little bit more information on that in just a minute. So I wanted to go over just a little bit of what's new with our Steps and Goals 2 series. Maybe some of you heard this in previous webinars or at the Summer Institute if you were there, but if not, this will give you or bring you up to speed just a little bit. So I'm going to go over our new test structure for these series, our 5 test levels, the new reports, and just reminding everyone that these are aligned on the ABE side, so Math Goals 2 being aligned to the College and Career Readiness Standards for Adult Education, and the new STEP series for ESL being aligned to the English Language Proficiency Standards. Next slide, please. Okay, so let's take a look at the levels. So we've really done a lot to simplify the test structure across all of these different series. And we've made some changes that will really improve the reliability of the tests. So the big change is that we now have 5 test levels, A, B, C, D, and E. This is different from the previous series, which had either 2 levels or 3 levels or even 4 levels. An important thing to note is that though there are 5 levels, we are still covering all 6 of the NRS levels. So this is just the same as the previous series. We're just doing it across more test forms. To also simplify, each of these test forms is covering 2 full NRS levels in an overlapping fashion. So for example, level A covers NRS 1 and 2, B 2 and 3, C 3 and 4, and so on all the way up. There's a lot of benefits that this will confer onto students and programs. It's going to reduce the incidence of needing to retest. We've seen that a lot in the field testing. And it will also always provide the opportunity for students to make a measurable skill gain, regardless of their pre-test score. Okay, so let's dive a little bit more into what's new with these 2 series. And we're going to take a look at the new reports, which we're really excited about. Okay, so before I dive in with the new ones, I'm just going to kind of give a brief overview of some of the different reports that are available. So on the one hand, we have our score reports. This is the personal score report, the next assigned test, the test history, learning gains reports. These are all still available for everyone to use. And they haven't been majorly changed. The personal score report a little bit, just tailored to the new series, but generally those reports are as you may have used them before. Then we have our skill reports, the individual skills profile, our content standard report, our competency performance report, and our task area report. The individual skills profile also has largely remained the same. It is, again, tailored a little to the new series, but the format and the types of information that you can get there are the same. The content standard, competency, and task area reports are new. And so we're going to take a look at those right now. So first, how do we get these reports? Well, you just go into TE like you would have done before. You go under reports, test results, competency, or content standards in the menu. And then you can see in yellow all of these reports that are highlighted. If you are generating a report for Math Goals 2 or the new STEP series, you just go into the same area that you would have gone before. And when you generate the report, it will give you the new report format. You'll also see in this menu a couple of reports that have an asterisk next to them. These reports are no longer available for the new series. Next slide, please. Okay, so content standard, competency, and task area reports. Both of these are offered at the student level and the class level. So you'll be able to get those same views that you had before. Let's take a look at the first one. Okay, so here's an example of our content standard report for reading steps. All of the new reports follow along with a similar format to this. So what you can see is at the top, we have some descriptive information about the student or the class. Then we have a bar graph underneath, which shows the student performance. And then underneath the bar graph is a chart that again shows the student's performance, as well as a little bit more detailed information. Here you can see content areas. You can see some subcategories to give a little bit more information about what they were assessed on. You can also see the ELP standard that was assessed, and then the percent correct and how many items there were. This is also an example of the content standard report, but for Math Goals 2. Again, you can see it has very similar information. The format is the same, but in the content areas, it is tailored to math. So you can see the 4 main content areas that are assessed and reported out on, as well as those subcategories, again, providing more information. So this report, we're really excited about because it is much more accessible in many ways. Students, once they learn how to use it, we hope will be able to understand them more easily, and they're really tailored to a wide audience. Next slide. Okay, and now here is an example of the competency report. And again, you'll see that it's following the same format. There's the descriptive information at the top about the student or the class. We have a bar graph that shows the student performance in these different areas that we report out on. And then underneath the competency areas, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And then again, the subcategories here, which provide a bit more information at the 2-digit level for the CASAS competencies. And okay, thank you. And then finally, that's okay, you can go to the next slide. This is the task area report, which again provides the same type of information. It will have the descriptive information at the top, the bar graph, and then the chart below with more information. So overall, we've really streamlined these reports. You can see that once you understand one format for the report, you can understand them all. And again, they were developed for a wide-ranging audience, from students to instructors to coordinators, and very excited to have people start to use them. Okay, and the last thing I just want to go over is for our new Reading Goals 2 assessment that we are currently developing. We are starting a lot of field testing this fall and through the winter of next year to validate our new tests. And we really are encouraging everyone to participate if you can. We really need your help to get all of the data that we need to have a solid submission to the U.S. Department of Education so that this test can also be NRS approved in the future. And there's a lot of benefits to participating in this field testing. You'll get an early look at the new series. Test takers get a chance to practice a bit, build some confidence. We'll also incentivize a bit with some complementary test units, and also incentivize with the students as well. And this can be done both on eTests and in paper. And if you are interested in participating, we'd be so happy to have you. And please contact Karen Berger at fieldtesting@casas.org. Thank you very much. And now I'm going to turn it back over to Laura. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel, for your leadership in test development. We really appreciate your hard work. I have a great idea, Karen. Let's do another poll.
Okay.
For this one, we want to kind of transition to moving to the new series. We want to get an idea of where you are with that out there in the field. So what are your plans for transitioning to the new test series? Are you starting right away? Are you starting as soon as possible, but just waiting for your state assessment policy update? Are you starting with a small group, with a small specific group or groups? Are you just going to wait until January 1st, 2024, or waiting until July 1st, 2024, or maybe you're just not sure? So if you could go ahead, Karen, any advice for people on?
I'm going to launch and take it away.
Here we go. This is probably more exciting for us than it is for anybody else, right? The results of this. This is going to really help us to support you. Looks like starting right away is looking good. Folks are anxious to start using these culturally relevant and responsive new assessments. And I think it's kind of winding down. We have some folks who are not sure or maybe waiting till the new year.
Okay, I'm going to end the poll and share those results so everyone can just see what our percentages are on those different questions. So there's definitely a nice variety, and we really want to help support you. So don't hesitate to reach out for assistance with the best plan for your transition to the new series.
Okay.
So thanks again for helping us. Don't forget to close that little poll window and at the top right corner of the box.
Great. And so we're going to start assisting you right now because we actually have some tips for transitioning to the new series. And take it away, Elizabeth Scheib.
Yeah, thank you, Laura and Karen. My name is Elizabeth Scheib, and today I'll be talking a little bit about just some considerations when you're transitioning to the new test series for eTests. So many programs, as we've just seen in the poll, are considering their options, whether they're switching right away or they're waiting later on in the school year to make the switch. We do recommend that prior to switching to the new test series, you confirm that your state has updated its assessment policy for the new series. CASAS does not require any verification of an updated assessment policy, but you do want to make sure that when you're using these new CASAS assessments, they will be valid for reporting purposes at the end of the year. And if you need any assistance on that, please send us an email. We are happy to assist any state level directors who would like to make an amendment to their state assessment policy to include the new CASAS test series. So at the local level, for the most part, your program has really two options. We can adjust your current ABE and ESL testing sessions and eTests to administer the new series right away, or we can add a new set of testing sessions. This new set of sessions will be totally separate so that you can continue administering the old series and also have access to the new series, whether you're switching right away or in the next few weeks. One recommendation that we've received from the field about whether or not to post-test on the old series was if your student has over 10 instructional hours, it would probably be better to post-test them on the older series. And if you don't have that threshold met for new students, if your state policy allows for it, you could probably move forward and pre-test them on the new CASAS series. Some of my next slides just have some screenshots of what this looks like if you're a visual learner. So for that first option, when we're talking about adjusting your testing sessions, this is a default set of testing sessions that may be familiar to you as an e-tester. They're demarcated by ABE and ASE. So instead of administering reading goals and math goals, we can amend that session to administer reading goals and math goals too. And then for ESL, instead of administering the life and work reading and life and work listening, we can amend that session to administer the reading steps and listening steps. This is one way to keep your sessions intact if you have certain demographics or certain ways of collecting data on students. This would keep all of those certain configurations intact. It would only change the test that's being administered. Another option that's available to many programs is we can add a separate set of sessions so that you could you can continue administering the older test series as well as the new test series, and that they're easily differentiable so that your proctors don't get confused. In this example, we have both a set of ESL life and work testing sessions, as well as a set of ESL steps testing sessions. So if you have one ESL class that would like to pilot the new series, whereas other sites or other classes will continue using, you might consider a setup like this. Either way, if you require this assistance or you're interested in learning more, please email golive@casas.org, and so we can add these testing sessions or assist in that way. This is just one look at some of the default testing sessions for ABE and ASE. CASAS adds a set of default testing sessions to every new e-testing agency. So if your sessions don't look like this, but you would like them to, you can also email us at GoLive and we can assist, or we can meet via Zoom to also discuss some of the options. For our new testing series in ESL, our testing sessions do differ slightly from what we offered for life and work. With life and work, we had 3 intake sessions, but now with the new STEP series, we will only have 2 intake sessions on eTests. This is an intake session for level A only. So as Daniel mentioned previously, our new level A tests will cover NRS levels 1 and 2 for the ESL reading and listening tests. Then we also have our pre-test with Locator, where the locator will seamlessly place students into all 5 levels of the new tests, levels A through E. And then just a brief refresher to wrap up. Some of the best practices for using CASAS testing sessions are, we recommend having the same set of testing sessions that your program will use for 1 full program year. We recommend having 1 standard set of testing sessions for each separate site. Make sure your testing sessions are labeled clearly and accurately. You can always remove testing sessions that you're not using by deleting them, or we can also help so that they are expired or inactive and they will no longer appear as an option to your proctors. It's always easier for our tech support team to assist programs who are using the default testing sessions, but we're also very flexible if you have a certain way that you're using your testing sessions and that's benefiting your program. We are happy to support anyway. So you can always send an email to GoLive or contact our tech support team. And with that, I'll be answering some of your questions in the Q&A about this if you have any questions about the transition. But I will be also turning it over to my colleague on our tech support team, Luke Philly, for just a brief update on the CASAS eTest security update.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. And so we will be transitioning to the CASAS secure browser, to the Windows Take a Test. You will need to have Windows 10 or 11 Pro or Enterprise. The Home Edition does not have the Take a Test kiosk. So make sure you've got the, the Pro or the Enterprise, and make sure you check with IT. If you are using Chromebooks or iPads, nothing will change for you. You can continue to use them as you have been. There's been no changes, so they'll continue to work just how they have always worked. With this upgrade, you do not have to install anything like you did with the secure browser. Everything is ran within the Windows kiosk, just like how the Chromebooks have their kiosk mode and the iPads have the guided access. Everything's just going to be ran within it, and so you shouldn't run into problems. Embedded below is also the user guide we will look at in a moment. This will be easier to implement and maintain. You don't have to worry about the firewalls or the permission settings blocking access, since everything again will be running within the Windows itself. It also supports the new accommodation features from eTests 2. When the coordinator edits a session or when they edit the templates, they'll then be able to see something called accessibility in those tabs. And so they'll be able to click on accessibility and kind of change some of those settings within there, just like any other setting under the tabs. There will be two links you will use, one for the proctor with the accessibility tab enabled and a secure link for the stations that you'll be using for testing. The regular eTest link with the proctor you currently are using, that will also continue to work as well. And then you're going to want to make sure you switch over before the October 15th deadline. If IT has any issues or if you have any issues, you can always, give us a call. You can always email tech support. We're always going to be here. No worries there. I'm going to quickly do a little live demo to just kind of show you how simple it is. Let me go ahead and share. All right, so you should be seeing my screen now. So this is just the regular, CASAS homepage. And so what you're going to do is you're going to notice on the right-hand side under what's new, you're going to click CASAS eTest Security Update, Take a Test. That's going to go ahead and launch the CASAS eTest help documentation. And if you scroll down, this is where you'll see the CASAS eTest Take a Test user guide updated to August 2023. You'll go ahead and click on the download, and that's going to go ahead and open up the CASAS eTest Security user guide, which is embedded. When you scroll down, here's the secure links I was talking about. This is what you're going to use for your station. So for the students taking the test, you're going to click on, the global, the California, the Washington, the Lyric, the Miami-Dade, whatever server you guys currently use, copy this full link. The proctors with the accessibility that I was talking about, this is where it's going to be kind of the same, eTest online, but then you're going to put that /eTest2. So that's where that eTest2 kind of comes in. So if they kind of want to see those extra features, /eTest2 at the end. So we're going to come back up here and you want to highlight the entire link. Notice how I'm copying the ms-edu-secure. You want to copy the whole thing, okay? Notice it'll let you click, but it's not going to copy everything because this gets cut off, right? So copy from left to right. And what you can do is you can right click on your desktop. You'll go to new, just like any other shortcut. And then we can paste, right? We're going to copy and paste. And if you notice, when I come over here, I included that over there. I included the MS. So make sure you get the whole link. You'll click next, and then you're going to be able to name it. So you can name it, CASAS eTests, and then you'll click finish. So now we have a different looking little icon. So if you double click it, you're going to notice that it now says, do you trust etestonline.org? This site will take you to control your PC. So it's going to give this warning saying, hey, you're kind of leaving your normal desktop and you're going to be going into the kiosk mode. And so you're going to go into that kind of secure environment. So you would click yes, and it would take you there. I'm not going to do that because then, I'll disappear. But if you have any questions, you can always give us a call. If IT has any problems or there's any issues, you can always email us. If you have any questions in the Q&A, we can kind of take care of that. No issues at all. And I'll go ahead and pass it over to Christine with training updates and upcoming events.
Thank you, Luke. So we are excited. If you have any questions about that, you can email our tech support group. And we're excited about our training. We know that you may be wondering about training for the new steps and math goals. 2 series. So on this slide, we've highlighted the test administration procedures remain the same. Many of you have written in and asked us about if your current certifications apply to the new test series, and the answer is yes. So eTests Proctor, that all applies to these new series. There's no special training for steps and goals currently. However, we do recommend that you take time as individuals or as a team to review those links that we posted earlier on our homepage. We are updating our existing online and live training to include the new NRS approved test series with the information and graphics that we've shared here today. So we're also working on a shorter supplemental online course that's going to be available in this next program year to help you with those transition plans that we were talking about earlier, whether you're transitioning in the spring or next year, or you've already transitioned. Of course, this course will not be recommended this program year, or will be recommended this program year, not required. So on this next slide, we wanted to share, we're so excited, as many of you know, with this approval, we work on creating a beautiful test series for you. These are the images that you'll see for paper-based testers. Reading steps, as you know, includes 5 levels. And that for our listening steps and ESL for our ESL students includes both a test booklet for level A only and those CDs for the listening items for all levels A through E. And for our ABE ASE students, our Math Goals 2 paper test booklets are available for all 5 levels, A through E as well. We are so excited about the benefits of these new test series for our students. And so for those of you who use TOPS Pro Enterprise, or maybe you've just found out you will be using TOPS Pro Enterprise in this next program year, or maybe you just need a refresher, please join our tech support team for a live webinar. Happens to be tomorrow, August 24th at 11 a.m. You can register with the link on this slide. And we also regularly hold office hours with CASAS staff. Many of you that I've seen in the chat here today have joined us for office hours. If you have questions about the new test series or want to dig into those reports a little deeper, we would love to meet with you live, one-on-one, and help you get that support that you need. If you have a hot topic, we'd love to talk with you about that as well. We do hold those regular office hours on select Fridays of every month. And this Friday, August 26th, or in September on the 15th and 29th, please be sure to register and join us. We'd love to meet with you. Of course, this is going to be something that's really important. We rely on our email groups and global emails to keep you informed about our new test series, changes, upcoming events, TE and eTest updates. So by clicking that yes box that you see here on this slide, this will ensure that you receive those essential communications about field testing, like for the upcoming reading goals study, for example. Take a test, as mentioned earlier, is also important, so we'll be sending updates about that as needed. And it's important to note that CASAS keeps all of your data confidential and only uses your email when you click this box yes to communicate directly with you about all those essential time-sensitive pieces of information. If you want to receive those emails, you need to have a CASAS website login, and then under your profile, after you've created your account, be sure to log in and check yes. We would love to stay connected with you that way.
Thanks.
I'd like to turn it over. Yeah, I was going to say, turn it over to Laura.
Thank you. So just before we get ready to say goodbye, we want to remind you our next news and update webinar is Wednesday, October 18th. And we want to wish you all, well, next slide, please. Just a reminder, we're here for you. This is how you can get in touch with us. But most importantly, we want to wish you all a wonderful new school year.